Hundreds of thousands of Americans have died from opioid overdoses, a crisis driven by the volume of prescription narcotics reaching local communities. Public outrage has centered on Purdue Pharma and the Sackler family, the makers of OxyContin. Purdue's rapid nationwide expansion relied on an external architectural blueprint. The firm hired to build their sales machine was McKinsey Company. While McKinsey consultants advised Purdue on how to sell more opioids, they simultaneously held active contracts with the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, the agency tasked with regulating those very drugs. This was a systemic failure that allowed a private entity to play both sides of a public health disaster. When McKinsey walked into Purdue's headquarters, they were handed a mandate: turbocharge the sales of OxyContin. They approached the problem by treating a narcotic exactly like a standard consumer good. To McKinsey, OxyContin was a product that needed rapid, aggressive market scaling. Using prescription data, McKinsey built scatter plots to identify high-volume medical providers across the country, grouping them as priority targets. Then, McKinsey engineered targeted messaging for sales reps to overcome hesitation about the drug's addictive properties, encouraging higher doses. The tactics worked. OxyContin sales spiked as distribution saturated these carefully chosen medical markets. All of these optimization strategies effectively consolidated localized medical practices into a highly efficient national distribution network for narcotics. Over in Washington, an FDA advisory committee was supposed to be hitting the brakes. The agency's mandate is policing the sales practices McKinsey was designing. Yet, while one McKinsey team was helping Purdue sell more pills, a separate McKinsey team was actively advising the FDA on its organizational structure and drug approval processes. This raises a difficult question. How can a single firm advise both the creator of a crisis and the regulator attempting to contain it? This organizational chart shows the internal firewall. It's a theoretical corporate barrier designed to separate conflicting teams. But in practice, that firewall failed. Internal documents showed McKinsey partners on the Purdue account were actively coordinating with partners assigned to the FDA. By operating without genuine boundaries, McKinsey's dual mandate introduced a structural conflict of interest that compromised the integrity of the regulatory system. Purdue Pharma faced immediate lawsuits in public reckoning. McKinsey managed to remain in the shadows for years. That ended when internal documents eventually exposed McKinsey's dual-sided playbook to the public and lawmakers. McKinsey was eventually forced to pay hundreds of millions in settlements across multiple states for their role. These settlements point to the influence of unelected, unregulated corporate consultants operating in private. A consulting firm cannot objectively serve public health interests while collecting fees to maximize the sale of narcotics. When a single entity is permitted to build the accelerator and design the brakes, public safety will inevitably be the casualty.